If you remember Google Analytics Universal, it was easy to define sessions. But now the data is collected by events, so collecting those into sessions, especially having the privacy restrictions, is pretty tough. And marketing analytics typically require those sessions because that's the pretty obvious thing to compare to other metrics. Based on the source of data you're using for your reports, you might get a different number of sessions. And just because GA4 doesn't give you a clean sessions table, you have to define it yourself using SQL on the data you export from GA4 to BigQuery, and if you don't do it right, nobody will ever trust your numbers. So as a data analyst, you need to have a clear description of what this session is, how it's calculated, and what the attributes of the session are. Today, I will show you that SQL that actually works for us, and you can reuse it or change it and finally define GA4 sessions once and for all. So let me create a data mart here in OWOX. I'll give it a name, owox.com sessions. I'll select my data storage and I'll paste the SQL in here. Do not worry about copying it from my screen. I will leave the full query somewhere near this video so you can grab it. So first, I'm pulling all my raw data from the GA4 export. Then I'm adding the session ID field by combining the user pseudo ID and the GA4 session ID. I'm also extracting the page location in here right away. Next, I'm building the final session structure, session ID and the user pseudo ID, the session date and the timestamp, the landing page without that messy query string, and the device information, geo information and the traffic source fields. Finally, I'm filtering out for event name, session start, and taking that very first row for each session with a row number window function. I'm also filtering for that the user pseudo ID exists. You might want to still collect those events into sessions for sessions without user pseudo ID, but I just don't do it. It might not be accurate, but that's going to be your choice. So that gives me exactly one clean record per session. When I save this query as a data mart and publish, so let me actually pass that data to a report in Google Sheets so you can see the result. A table where each row, one session with all of the dimensions I might need in the future. If some fields are not really clear for the person looking at it, it's worth documenting it. Now check this out. Here is the output schema. Some fields look cryptic. If you hand this straight to your boss or stakeholder, they will see things like user pseudo ID, session ID, or nested structs for device and geo, and they will have no idea what that means. That's where documenting your work, your data mart, comes in. Right here in OWOX, you can add business-friendly aliases and field descriptions so the report is clear without rewriting SQL. For example, for the session ID, I will add more friendly session ID alias and the unique ID for this user session as a description. For user pseudo ID, I'll go with just the visitor ID, GA4 unique visitor identifier. Session date goes to date, session time for the started ad. Instead of the landing page, I'll just say URL and add a description, the first page visited during this session, without the query string. For the device category, I'll make it clear, device category, device OS, device browser, etc. For the geo network, I'll go with the geo information, city, country, continent, region. That's it. It would be so much cleaner. And finally, for our traffic details, I will go with classic source, medium, campaign, term, and content. That's what everyone would understand. So when I'm typing these aliases and nodes into the schema editor so anyone, even not an analyst, can understand what each field means, I'll just run out the report again and see how much cleaner it is right now. Now it represents what everyone would understand correctly. And that's exactly how you define GA4 sessions properly and make them available for a report, but also for merging with other objects like page views, pages, visitors, etc. But this is a whole different story that we'll discuss in another video. And look, writing SQL isn't enough anymore to define the object. If the output isn't documented and readable, your teammates might interpret it. With OWOX data marts, you define everything once, document once, and reuse everywhere. In Google Sheets, Looker Studio, Tableau, or by connecting with another objects here within the data model. So next time someone asks you, how are sessions defined here? You'll already have the answer. Here is the data, here is the description, here is the schema. Grab the SQL in the description, try it out, and start building your own documented GA4 session data mart today. And if you want to define not just sessions but users, page views, conversions, and every core metrics once and reuse it everywhere, subscribe to this channel and enable notifications right here so you don't miss this. Or you can go straight into OWOX data mart and do it there now. Try it free in the cloud, or use it forever free if you self-host it. Your future self will thank you when every dashboard in your company shows the same number for sessions.